The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff by Byron Broussard. The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff, Part 22. As Billy's flaming arms responded to the flaming person flying in his direction, the sound of the campfire went out, along with all movement in the flaming land. "I'm here. Where are you?" Jessica said inside Billy's head. Billy could only move his eyes, and he could see me smiling from where they floated frozen. "He's still got his eyes open," Me said to Jessica. Billy could see Me's mouth moving. It was the only motion in the motionless land of fire. "This is wild, Jessica. You have got to see this," Billy said excitedly. "The whole land of fire is frozen, and I can still see Me's mouth move when they talk." "What are y'all talking about?" a voice asked. "Oh, this is Sabine," Jessica said. "Don't mind us. We're solving the world's mysteries." "Oh, okay," Sabine said. "I can't move my body, but I can move my eyes, and Me can move their whole mouth," Billy continued to explain. Cool, and all, but you asked me to come to the darkness of self-reflection. I didn't want to be here. I'm waiting for you, Billy," Jessica said, sounding impatient. "Let's see how it works when we are both here." "Right," Billy said while closing his eyes. Billy entered the darkness of self-reflection and was greeted by the flaming coffee shop. Jessica, Me, and Sabine were at a booth in the middle of the shop. "Hello again. Did you miss me?" Billy laughed. "Cool. You've seen that we are all in the same space, and Sabine isn't invisible to you. What other checks do we need to test here?" Jessica asked. Billy noticed that she didn't have a cup of coffee, and he blinked. "Well, yeah, I mean, if you're ever in trouble or if we want to stop time," Billy said, sounding unsure. "We know how now." Me shook their head. "Cool, I'm out of here," Jessica said matter-of-factly. Her image disappeared. "Oh, and only I can judge Me, Sabine." The image of Sabine in the flaming coffee shop looked around questioningly, and then she sat still in revelation. "Can you see the frozen land of fire?" Billy asked Jessica. "Yes," Jessica and Sabine said together. "Wow." Billy can also still see the image of Sabine in the darkness of self-reflection, Me said in their toneless voice. "Are you in both places, Sabine?" Jessica asked, sounding amazed. Billy watched in the flaming coffee shop as the image of Sabine nodded. "Yes, it reminds me of how it felt to think in images while having your eyes open," Sabine said, then paused. "But the thought images are the flaming land, and my eyes open are in the flaming coffee shop. And I'd also like to point out how disorienting it all is to have my own thoughts on top of these views." She took a quick breath. "The views I didn't choose to have, and that's the worst part. My mind is working to support images from someone else's reality." Sabine's face pouted. "Is it the same view for you, Me?" Billy asked. "Sure is," Me answered in a toneless voice. "Last thing I can think of is to experiment on is for you to show me what Jessica is seeing in the frozen, flaming land," Billy said, looking towards Me in the flaming coffee shop. The image of the flaming coffee shop disappeared, and the flaming land appeared. "We got scale views, and we can even third eye from my position," Me said, as the image of the flaming land changed to include Jessica standing in their flaming body. Good to know and all, but we are not going to need to use this, Billy," Jessica said. "I have no idea who you plan to trade all this information to, and even less of an idea what you think you could get for it. Please exit your self-reflection." Billy opened his eyes to the sound of the campfire and swords. "Shit!" Billy yelled inside his head as a flaming person crashed into him. What the hell, me? Me laughed tonelessly. I've released Sabine, Jessica said in a matter-of-fact voice. I'm getting closer to you guys. Mia threw a random person at me, and I felt the embarrassment, and they felt mine, Billy said, while his flaming body struggled to get the flaming man off of him. Billy could see at least 60 flaming people and flaming beasts in the area. Some were crumpled on the coals, and others were charging towards me. Others were circling me. There are a lot of flaming people looking for an opportunity to attack you, me. Billy's flaming body sat up. The flaming person was sitting on Billy's legs with his hands on his head. Should I let some of them hit me? Me asked in a toneless voice. Billy watched as me threw flaming people at other flaming people and danced around the sword swipes. No, me. You don't have to make Billy feel better about how lazy he is, Jessica said inside her Billy's head. Ask a question, me said in a toneless voice while waving to Billy. Billy could see the urgency in me. What's going on? Jessica asked. Just let them hit you already. Stop defending yourself, Billy called out inside his head to me. Billy watched as me went stiff, and then a sword pierced their side. The flaming people all paused for a moment as lava spilled from me's wound. Then they all went on the attack. Billy watched from under the flaming man as a flash of rainbow passed in his sights. Don't let any of them consume you, Billy said quickly. What are you doing? Jessica asked as Lee appeared in between Billy and me. Billy's heart dropped when he lost sight of me getting stabbed over and over. He pushed the flaming man to his feet and then stood up to face Lee. Lee is here, me said to Jessica inside of Billy's head. Lee blurred in front of Billy, and Billy watched as the flaming person that was next to him went flying through the air. Lee was back to where he was in front of Billy in an instant. Billy took out his sword and held it loosely. I may end up being a good thing. It may end up being a good thing that you're not here, Jessica, Billy said inside his head. I can show you my full potential without your warrior way judgment. I'll hang back for a little while then, Jessica said. Close enough to watch, but busy enough to not see you being all amazing or whatever. Not like you want to watch me or anything. Billy laughed, and Jessica joined him in laughter. I'm getting stabbed over here. This is serious, me said in a toneless voice. Billy stopped laughing inside his head, and his flaming body looked over Lee's Vantablack shoulder to see me staring at him intently. Billy's flaming body produced the goblet from his back, and Billy held it out towards Lee. We gotta try the goblet on each other, Billy exclaimed as Lee looked at the goblet, then away from it. Lee's mouth moved, and Billy watched as Lee's face went from determination. Lee's mouth moved, and Billy watched as Lee's face went from determined to exasperated, then back to more serious. If Lisa wanted to talk, she would have sent Lee to me, Billy calculated in his head. If Lisa had connected with Rick or anyone else, then Lee would be male-female, Billy said to himself. Lee took the goblet from Billy and drank it timidly before returning it to Billy. Lisa is acting alone, and she needs something from me specifically, and she is open to attempting something new and random like the goblet, so her will is flexible, Billy said. Billy said inside his head as he put the goblet back in his pack. Billy still held his sword loosely in his flaming hand, and he didn't move when Lee reached out to touch him. They are pretty determined to see you bend to their will, me said in a toneless voice. I felt that it was no hard feelings but necessary, like a courtesy warning before the bomb drops, me finished. Billy's flaming body began to sway. Lee reached for Billy, and Billy swiftly stepped back while swinging his sword defensively. Billy then reached for Lee. Tell them I give my blessing willingly. Billy said as his flaming hand fell on Reed. Tell them I give my blessing willingly, Billy said as his flaming hand fell on Lee's rainbow tunic. Message received, Mee replied in their toneless voice. Billy looked hopeful at Lee, and before he could remove his flaming hand from Lee's rainbow tunic, Lee's arm blurred and Billy's view was stripped from him as he flew through the air. He rolled on coals as he came to a stop under a cottage. There were flaming people standing around without swords in the open pathways, walking calmly. Did I time travel? Are you all still here? Billy asked inside his head. He kicked your ass, Billy, Mee said. Honestly, I was watching that bit, Jessica said sheepishly. Are there flaming people who aren't fighting around your area, Jessica? Billy asked. Always the scientist, I see, Jessica said. Yeah, there are more people who aren't participating over here as well, she finished. She must have already found Rick then. If one of you could check if people around you know about their intuitions, that would be helpful, Billy said to me and Jessica. I feel like I'll be busy with my new experiment of what happens when I consume someone else's intuition, Billy said inside his head. I've come into contact with a few different flaming people who were in touch with their intuitions, Mee answered in their toneless voice. You can start evading more, Mee. You can start evading more, Mee. It's hard to watch you get attacked, Jessica said as Lee appeared in front of Billy. Billy had his flaming body kneel in front of Lee's Vantablack body. I'm going to need you guys to keep an eye on this, Billy said, closing his eyes. Mee, can you zoom around the perimeter and give me pointers? Jessica, can you coach from the side? Closed eye fighting? I'll give you updates, Mee said. Fighting? Jessica asked. Right now, you're bowed in front of Lee like a man at prayer, with your hands out and everything, Jessica laughed. This will be interesting either way. I've never been consumed, but would also not like it. Hey, Mee, do you know what happens to our connection if I'm consumed? Billy asked. Stay focused and we won't find out, Mee answered. Lee just punched you in the head and you flew relatively far, Mee added. Holy shit, I didn't even see what happened, Jessica said, sounding excited. That must have been some punch. You all do realize that I wouldn't have felt that if you didn't make me feel like I should feel that, right? Billy said in pain. You needed to feel that one, Mee answered. Tough love for me. You are standing and Lee is in front of you again. Looks like he's aggravated, Jessica said. Make your move if it's the time. Lee is about to strike. I will block these next few attacks in the style of a boxer, Billy said, buying time for what, though? For fuck's sake, Jessica yelled. Lee is grabbing for your arm and you are lazily stepping to the side and hitting his hand with your elbow. I can't evade like this for too long. Switch styles to martial arts master, Billy said inside his head. You began to counter-strike from time to time, but it's mostly a lot of evasion. Lee is starting to move faster, Mee said. I've got to finish Lee into being vulnerable. I've got to fish Lee into being vulnerable enough to consume. I'll use my sword now, Billy said. Still martial arts style, using the sword as a shield while countering from time to time. This is so beautiful, Billy, Jessica said, then took a breath. Lee is almost at a flash speed, and your flaming body is spinning the sword while stepping and bending like a badass ballroom dance. Now to go into attack mode while evading attack, Billy said. You almost hit Lee with the first two attacks, Mee said. It's looking like attacking is your weak area right now, Jessica said. Now to add a little chase into the mix. A fly on the treetop style sword fight, Billy said confidently. The way Lee moves, you seem to be running in circles for the chance to block or evade Lee's attacks, Jessica said, sounding suspicious. Now to accidentally slash Lee with my sword, Billy said. Very believable blow you landed. It looked like pure luck, Mee reported. Now I've got to take a pretty strong attack on the chin, so keep up with wherever I land. Now I've got to take a pretty strong attack on the chin, so keep up with wherever I end up, Billy said. Damn, Lee's little Vantablack arm just uppercut you in your side so hard you disappeared, Jessica said, excited. I'm on the way to you now. Lee is in front of you again. You're still evading Lee's grab with a sword-swinging motion, Mii reported. Also, Lee is starting to burn. Here's where I spring. Move as fast as me to Lee and consume him, Billy said. Nigga, I just saw you release blue lightning from your head, Jessica screamed. Lee is gone, Mii said. Billy opened his eyes and heard the familiar sound of campfire. A flaming woman was running towards him. Jessica? Billy asked as the flaming woman jumped into his arms for an embrace that Billy felt. Billy watched as the flaming woman twisted a bit in his arms and then stabbed him in the back. Gotcha, Jessica laughed. Billy pushed her away and swung his sword at her. Jessica batted Billy's sword away and bounced on the balls of her flaming feet. Pleasure, Jessica said, stabbing Billy through the heart with her sword. Billy felt the bliss that they had shared together in a place of pain. Pleasure, Billy said as he stabbed his sword swiftly through Jessica's stomach. They moaned together. Y'all are gross, Mii said in their toneless voice. And Lee is back. And Lee is back. Mii rainbow speed zoomed in front of Billy, closely followed by Lee. Okay, it seems Lisa wants to talk this time, Billy said. Go ahead and connect the lines, Mii. She's always interrupting, Jessica said, sounding like she was complaining. Interrupting? What am I interrupting? Lisa said inside Billy's head. Yeah, hope not what I think. Anyway, screw you guys, Lisa said, getting louder. You took Lee away from me and put him back in the star. Can you even imagine what that is like? I apologize, but you came at me first, Billy said calmly. Hi, Lee. Hi, Lisa, Mii said in a flat tone. Hi, Mii. Hi, Jessica, Lee said in an equally flat tone. Stop saying hello, Lisa screamed. I have to best you to prove myself to Rick, otherwise he won't take me seriously, Lisa said, sounding determined. I will not be captured, Billy said calmly. So you bested Rick, and now he wants you to dethrone his idol for him. Typical male bullshit, Jessica said. If I capture you, Billy, Billy will fall soon after, Lisa said inside Billy's head to Jessica. I won't let you do that, Mii answered in their toneless voice. Jessica and I will stop you in these forms and beyond, Billy said. What he meant to say was that we are both kinda kick-ass and our intuition Mii over there is both of us combined, Jessica said, sounding apologetic. Is there any way we can trick Rick? Fuck you, Lisa screamed. I'm doing this for myself. Let's go, Lee. I'm doing this for myself. Let go, Lee. Lisa paused. Wait. If you let me consume you here and now, this will all be over. I'll show Rick I can run the show, and we'll bond over his next adventures. That sounds nice, honestly, Billy said. There are better ways than capture and violence to prove yourself, Mii added. Maybe she shouldn't be with Rick if she's going to turn on us this easy, Jessica said, sounding petty. Billy's flaming body looked at hers. They were standing next to a flaming cottage with Mii and Lee standing in front of them. Jessica's flaming body was leaning on Billy's. That's true. If I surrender now, who knows how long capture would proceed for, Billy said, sighing. I'll come over there myself, Lisa grumbled. It's no use, Billy said. I refuse to be consumed. Mii can't get hurt, and Jessica has her own confidence plus Mii's protection. You and Lee have lost. Let them go, Lisa yelled. Billy watched as Lee stepped away from me and blurred into a rainbow. Me, take us to Lisa, Billy said, and they flashed to another flaming cottage with a flaming woman inside. Lee appeared between Billy and the cottage. Me stepped in front of Billy. Connect the link for me, Me, Billy said, glancing towards Jessica. You got this. I'll go play for a bit, Jessica said, as Billy watched her walk off. Billy could see many flaming people and flaming beasts around. The flaming people that saw me and Lee were headed towards them. Billy could see that many flaming people and flaming beasts. Billy could see many flaming people and flaming beasts around. The flaming people that saw me and Lee were headed towards them. Billy watched as Me extended their hand towards Lee. Connecting, Me said. Oh. Inflection. Billy could see many flaming people and flaming beasts around. The flaming people that saw me and Lee were headed towards them. Billy watched as Me extended their hand towards Lee. Connecting, Me said. Me took a step towards Lee and Lee blurred into the direct. Me took a step towards Lee and Lee blurred in the direction of Jessica. Billy's flaming body jerked its head. After him, Billy shouted as he watched Jessica turn into a flaming beast and fly through the air, ripping wings off of other flaming beasts. Billy then saw Me blur at great speeds after Lee. He looked back into the flaming cottage at Lisa. If I threaten her, Lee will come back, and we can trap him together, Me, Billy said as he stepped towards Lisa. Try your closed-eye fighting style with your eyes open, Jessica suggested. Okay, I'm gonna grab her and block using close-quarters fighting style, Billy announced. You gotta feel it, Me said. We are headed back your way now. Now, Billy shouted as he ran inside the flaming cottage and grabbed Lisa. His flaming body blocked a sword swing with his shoulder. As soon as Billy's flaming body touched Lisa, he let her go and turned around to block the door. Lisa, Billy, Me, and Lee were all in the flaming cottage. Connecting, Me said. Billy watched as Me touched Lee's shoulder. What the hell do you want? Lisa said, sounding exhausted. Hey, Lisa, just checking in, Jessica said, teasing. We want to talk about this, Billy said. We have a weird, lopsided family going on, and I want to keep hope alive. Since we are so accustomed to solving problems together, why don't you let us help you? Me asked. I have no choice but to listen to you right now, Lisa said. Do you know how that feels? No, and I plan to never know. I will be a willing participant in my life, Billy said calmly. Girl, you already are his superior, but you want his respect, so work him until he respects where you got him, Jessica said. He is rather good at accomplishing tasks, like being a prison or clearing a battlefield. You get it. So you want me to have him build me an army and take you over... So you want me to have him build me an army and take you by overwhelming force? Lisa asked. Yeah, what? Billy said. Although it does fit the bill, he added. Have him make and train my army. I'd have to really lead it, though. Then we take you on. My victory, his respect, Lisa said, sounding contemplative. I guess just give us time. Well, we all know how time goes here, but give us, say, the time it takes to build a whole army, times 2.5. Billy said. His flaming body turned its back towards the group. He walked out the flaming cottage. Disconnect the line. See you guys later, Me said in their toneless voice before letting go of Lee and following Billy out. An army? Really, Jessica? Billy said, sounding offended. He looked up towards the lone star and heard the wind. I'm pretty practiced with fighting and would like to enjoy my time here, Jessica said. And currently, there are more flaming people who are not defending themselves. They must be the new immortals. Billy looked around the flaming cottages. Billy looked around the flaming cottage. Lee and Lisa passed by them. Lee waved. Jessica's flaming body dropped from the sky in front of Billy. She put her sword away and turned to look in the same direction as Billy. An army, Billy said inside his head. Would you mind letting me drink from your cup? Yeah, as long as this isn't some type of loyalty test, Jessica said, turning her flaming body towards Billy again. Me put their arms around Jessica in a side hug. I'd fail a loyalty test on purpose, just to get you motivated, Jessica said, teasing. Lisa should take the loyalty test, because if she thinks an army could stop us, she's being dishonest with herself, Me said in their toneless voice. They laughed as Jessica reached behind her and produced the goblet. The golden goblet. We have an audience, Me said, looking towards the group of flaming people that were watching them. Well, let's put on a show then, Billy said as he opened his arms and looked at Jessica. Me smiled light towards them and then hugged Billy. A show it is then, Jessica said. She extended the goblet towards Billy while bowing her head slightly. Me let go of Billy as he accepted the goblet from Jessica's hands and returned to Jessica's side. I'd be nervous about how you would react to this if we didn't already know exactly how each other felt, Jessica said as Billy drank the water from the goblet. Oh, wow, Billy said, amazed. His arms went to his cheek and he held the goblet against his heart as he was overwhelmed with feelings of respect, admiration, and curiosity. He took another drink from the goblet. Wow, Billy laughed, feeling embarrassment and familiarity and annoyance. What's the verdict? Jessica asked. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to be acting while I wait. Billy returned the goblet to Jessica, and he hugged her and me together in his flaming arms. It changes with your mood, Billy said. It's rather interesting. Don't forget we are acting now, but I had no idea how much you respected me. It's rather interesting. Don't forget we are acting now, but I had no idea how much you respect me, Billy said, laughing with me and Jessica in his arms. Shut up, Jessica screamed. Billy held her as she turned into a flaming beast and sprayed fire out of her mouth. See? That's why me and my new best friend Lisa have an army coming for you. Me laughed and ducked out of Billy's arms. Let's see if the flaming people have changed their tune towards me after that nice presentation of emotion in this hellscape, Me said as they ran towards the onlookers. Jessica broke Billy's embrace and put her flaming beast arm around Billy's shoulder. Play nice, dear, Jessica said, stepping closer to Billy. They were standing in an open path along the coals next to 3 flaming cottages and about 15 flaming people. Billy watched as Me walked up to several of the flaming people with a smile on their face. Hello there, people, Me said in a toneless voice. A few of the flaming people walked towards me with outstretched hands. I think it worked. For these few, at least, Billy said inside his head. He watched as one of the flaming people turned from Me and blinked. An intuition appeared next to them. Well, that trick is out of the bag. Don't touch it, Me. Hello and goodbye, Me said, waving their Vantablack arm and waving back towards Billy and Jessica.